welcome. This video is going to be a what sold for me for the week of May 8th till May 14th, and as per usual, we're going to scoot over here and we're going to start with the lowest performing platform first and work our way up, and that one is going to be Etsy. I sold this Jessica McClintock in like the Y2K era clutch that also could be a crossbody bag. It had a strap that could easily fold inside. So it sold for $15. You're seeing over here that it sold for $21.97 because they paid for shipping and also taxes. So that's the total price, but the actual purchase price was $15 plus all the other stuff. Then we're gonna scoot over here and we're gonna go to Facebook Marketplace because I have one on Facebook Marketplace too. And that is going to be this Prana shirt. I actually picked this up when I was doing the collab with Matt, Amber, and a lot of Josh. And it sold for $20 over on Facebook Marketplace, my full asking price, and the buyer paid for shipping. So Facebook, I think, only charges like 5% fees, and then, you know, the buyer pays for shipping. So this was actually very nice, and I was kind of surprised. It sold within like 24 hours of me listing it over on Facebook Marketplace. So cross-listing is helping. And Moxie has joined us, so we're gonna do the flop over here and we're gonna go to Poshmark. I know that a lot of people are having issues with Poshmark, with what they're changing with the algorithm. Things are still steadily selling for me over there, so I guess I'm kind of happy that they're changing the algorithm because it seems to be working out for me. Of course, it might just be that I'm actually like, you know, listing over there and sharing consistently, but first thing I want to share with you, and I was so grateful when this sold there, is this pair of BDG shorts. This was the very last pair of shorts that came in my very first ThredUp denim box, which if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will link that video up above. But this was the last thing that didn't sell. As you can see, I modeled it and I put this on Facebook, and that that created a fun and not so fun learning experience for me, but it sold for $10 on Poshmark, and then I could remove the Facebook Marketplace listing, and I will probably not do that again. Or at least not put my modeled photo as the very first photo in the listing. This is a Her Universe. So Her Universe is a maker of geeky and nerdy things geared towards femme-presenting women, and this is a Stark Industries, so Iron Man jacket. I got it as a size medium. It sold for my full asking price on Poshmark for $50, and on Poshmark the buyer pays for shipping. So that was an awesome sale because I think I paid like $6 for this at a Goodwill. This Sag Harbor piece, you know, I love my vintage, and I think I picked this up for like $2 at a thrift store, and it sold for $10 on Poshmark. So did I make a whole lot of money? No. But did I make $5? Yes. And did I save a vintage piece from going in the landfill? Also yes. So really happy about this. This was a women's size large. It kind of fit like a modern medium, and I'm really happy that this lovely 90s piece is off to a new home. This is a Peter Millar piece. I normally only pick up the Southern Comfort, and if I pay $5 or less, I'm more than happy to move these all day long. And it sold for $14 on Poshmark, and buyer paid for shipping. So I paid less than $5 for this shirt, so, you know, I made $7 or $8 from this, so pretty happy with that. This is an Eli Cattleman shirt. This was actually new without tags. It still had the cardboard under the collar, and it was a white shirt, so it's probably one of the only reasons I picked it up is because it was white and still new. It sold my full asking price of $15, and yeah, again, another thing that I paid like $4.50 for, so I made roughly like $7 or $8 after fees and shipping. And then we're gonna move over to eBay, because eBay is my main bay, and Miss Moxie's gonna move over here too. And let's get started. So we're gonna start off with vintage because, again, I really love vintage. I saw these Quicksilver shorts. They're from the early 90s, not from the late 90s. So these are from the early 90s. They were a size 34, and they have that 5-inch inseam. The short inseams are in, and this actually went all the way to Hawaii. So I thought that was really cool. And it sold for my full asking price of $21.87, and the buyer paid for shipping. This is a pair of Colonial Williamsburg ornaments that I picked up for $1 a piece at the Restore in Williamsburg from my old workplace. You can see here that I actually refunded $3.85 because they didn't bundle the items before paying for them. So I just refunded them the shipping overage because I like to do that. I feel like that I feel like it's important to pass the savings on to your customer, and it'll hopefully make them want to come back. I hope that they like them, and yeah, so really happy about that. They paid $5.87 a piece for them, so they basically put full price, and if I'm paying $1 a piece for them, after fees, cost of goods, and shipping, I made like $6 off of these ornaments. This is a women's FootJoy short sleeve polo. It was pink. This is a terrible photo, despite the fact I tried to save it with the Photo Room app. It still doesn't look that great. But someone paid me $8 for it, and also paid for shipping. I paid like 50 cents for this at an estate sale that I actually didn't film for y'all, so sorry about that. Another vintage piece going out on eBay. This is from the 80s. You can see I modeled it, and I think that that definitely helped sell it. I do try to model all of my vintage pieces because the sizing changed in the mid-90s to a different vanity sizing, so I feel like it's important, but you know, you do you. It sold for $10.30 and the buyer paid for shipping. I paid like $1 for that, so very happy to see it go on. This is a vintage Woolrich jacket. I paid $5 for this at an estate sale. It sold for on offer for $35 and the buyer paid $12 for shipping. You know, it's May and I'm selling fleece blanket lined coats. So, you know, I'm definitely one of those people where if when I get around to listing it, I'm going to list it because it really doesn't matter. You know, people are buying stuff year round. You know, it's cold up here. It's gonna be hot down in the southern hemisphere. This was not an international sale, but you know, it's still snowing in Colorado. My poor friend Misty's having to deal with that. So it's still cold in places, so maybe just go ahead and list it. This is RVCA Artist Series pair of board shorts. It sold for $14.30 and the buyer paid for shipping. Again, I will entreat you, if you have shorts, please list them. Pretty much any short that I have listed that is a men's short has sold within 2 weeks of me listing it. They are not staying in my store as long as you're pricing them reasonably and they are a searchable and in desire brand. It's going. This is from a recent thrift haul. This is a vintage 90s express mini skirt. It had like velvet stripe on either side. It just like had a tie waist. This was very tiny. This is very, very tiny. And it sold on offer for $15.19 and the buyer paid for shipping. I think I paid like $2 for this skirt. So 90s and Y2K are in. And even a mall brand like Express, it's still searchable, and because it fit and because it was vintage, it did sell very quickly. This is a Ray Dunn piece. I normally don't pick up Ray Dunn unless it's something I really haven't seen before or get it for really cheap. And this is both of those things. I picked this up for I think $4 at Goodwill. And it sold for $12.64, so it was on offer and the buyer paid for shipping. Very happy about that sale. This is a pair of Denim and Flower. It's not a good brand, but these were new tags and I stated that I pretty much had no doubt that they would sell. So if I'm going to pay $4.50 for a pair of shorts, perfectly happy to do that if it's going to sell within less than 2 weeks, because I'm basically double my money in 2 weeks, and you know, that's a pretty good investment in my opinion. So it sold for $12.50 and the buyer paid for shipping. Same thing with this pair of Quicksilver amphibian shorts. Like, especially if you are big on shopping at the bins, if you can find these hybrid shorts, so that's something that's supposed to be like, I'm gonna go out and go to the beach, and then when I'm done at the beach, I'm gonna get out of the beach, and then I'm gonna go get an ice cream cone on the boardwalk. Like, it's supposed to be that kind of like, you throw a shirt on it at night, and then you can go out to the bars after being at the beach all day. That's kind of what they're going for there. But it sold for my full asking price of $17.87 and the buyer paid for shipping. This is a great sale. This is actually a tie sale and it sold for $24.87. So my full asking price. The brand is called Brewer. And whenever I find this brand, I always pick it up when it comes in ties because, as you can see, it does convey a really decent resale value for something that's so small. So I paid like $2 for this at a thrift store, and this actually went international. So this is a global shipping program sale. So they actually paid like $60 for this tie after shipping and all that other stuff. So really, really excited about that sale. And I know that not everybody likes selling ties, but I do. So if it works for me, cool. If you want to try it, awesome. If it doesn't work for you, don't buy it. You do you. Besides the tie, my next best sell would be this antique Vaseline glass ashtray. It had the little Art Deco matchbook holder on it as well, and I put that on there. You guys can see, like, I put lots of effort into listing my uranium glass, my Vaseline glass, because I do believe that it does make a difference. I never have a piece stick around for longer than 2 weeks whenever I do list it like this, regardless of the platform I list it on. This sold for my full asking price of $34.87, and not only did this have flea bites around the edges, so it had little tiny chips on the edges, but it was also cracked. And it still sold for my full asking price. So sometimes those rare and beautiful pieces, even when they're slightly damaged, will still fetch a really good price. So just because it's damaged doesn't mean it won't sell. This is something I was just really happy to get rid of. It's a pair I bought these 2 Campbell's soup mugs for pure nostalgia because I remember having these growing up. Or at least having them at my friend's house, because my friends had them. I don't think we had them at my parents' house. But they're these big soup bowls, like the big Campbell's Soup Kids heads. I paid like 50 cents for each of them. They sold basically for $19.74, and the buyer paid $12 for shipping. So I still made really good money, and I am glad to move something that had been in my store for 3 years out. But this did need to get relisted, I think, 3 times before this last time it finally sold. This is an Athleta skirt. It's a size 12. This is also an international sale, which I was surprised by. It sold on offer for $15, and the buyer paid the $4.50 for shipping it to Kentucky, and then paid another $15 to ship it to wherever the heck it was going out in the world. But very nice sale here. I paid like $4.50 for this skirt. Another really quick flip. Just like this cool piece, but we all knew that was going to happen. This was in a recent pickup when I went to my honey hole, my CHKD honey hole here in Newport News. I paid $4 for this pair of shorts, and it sold for $23, and the buyer paid padded flat rate for shipping because this was a hell of a pair of shorts. This next pair, it's a Columbia piece, and the reason why it sold for $10, I was perfectly happy accepting $10 for this pair of shorts, is because these originally should have been convertible pants, which, if you don't know, convertible pants are very popular. The convertible cargo pants where you're supposed to zip the legs off and they go from pants to shorts. Well, I'm missing the pants part of these shorts. So I was pretty happy to just totally have them go for $10, and the buyer paid for shipping. So still sold, still doubled my money, still really happy about this fast flip. This is something from my closet clean out here, and it sold for $17, and the buyer paid for shipping. So I now have, after selling 2 pieces from my closet, around $28 to go spend. I'm kind of wanting to sell a little bit more because I want to get a thredUP box with that. I know that maybe that's not the best idea, but I think that that's the most attainable. But yeah, I'm happy it sold, and I'm happy to get a little bit more from my closet clean out, and hopefully I'll be able to put another video out soon for this because more stuff will sell. We have a postcard, so Brett, thank you again for sending me that giant collection of postcards. I have not listed even like 2% of the postcards from that pile he sent me, so this was free to me, and it sold for $3.87. eBay has this thing called eBay Standard Envelope. So it costs less than $1 to ship this, and it does have tracking with it, and I think it's really cool. You know, this is something from the 40s, so it's a piece of paper that is 80 years old and is still in like unused, pristine condition, which, when you think about it, is kind of amazing. This is a pair of vintage 90s Adidas jogger pants. They're windbreaker pants. I picked this up for the collab I did with, again, Matt, Amber, and Josh. And it finally sold for $20, and the buyer paid padded flat rate for shipping. And then I sold another pair of vintage joggers. This is LL Bean, and these had a full zip on the side. And these are from the 80s, and they sold for $9, and the buyer paid for shipping. I'm happy that these sold. Could I have probably gotten more for them? Yeah, but I'm much happier for a fast flip and then making sure these vintage pieces go off to a new home. This was something I didn't get to wear before it sold, because if I'm really excited about going, like, adding this to the rotating reseller closet, it almost always immediately sells as soon as I list it, and that's what happened here. This dress sold within 24 hours of me listing it. This is Sanita Athletics. You're like, $10, that's not very much. Well, no, but I also paid like $4.50 for this dress, and the original retail price for this dress is like $30. So it's not an expensive piece to begin with, and I doubled my money really quickly. So I know I got a comment before about, you know, you could get more money for your stuff. Yeah, but I'd rather just get it out of my house. I have plenty of stuff. I just need it to sell and get the money and get it gone at this point because I have too much stuff. This next piece is a Duluth Trading Co. piece. It is a men's medium short sleeve shirt. This is made out of flax. It is gusseted under the armpits because that's something that Duluth really likes doing. So you have a full range of motion, which, you know, as someone who has the beefy shoulders appreciates. It's sold on offer for $12 and the buyer paid for shipping. I was actually very surprised that this sold. So this is something else I modeled. This is a vintage 90s silk skirt. I picked this up for less than $1 at a consignment store, and you know, it sold. It was 100% silk. It had this really interesting pattern to it, and it sold for $10 and the buyer paid for shipping. The reason why I said I'm a little surprised that it sold as quickly as it did is because I think it only took a couple of months. It was a little bit sheer, and also it had a stain on it, but you couldn't really tell because of the pattern. So very happy that this moved on to new home, and hopefully to someone that will love it. And then the very last sale I have to share with you is a book, and it is a folio from Ivanhoe. I paid $5 for this at an estate sale, and it sold for my full asking price of $14.87, and the buyer paid medium mail rate to ship it. So whenever you see a book that has a sleeve like this one does, that is called a folio. So that's a good keyword to put in there. And it did have some sun damage on the folio, as well as a little bit of yellowing of the pages because, you know, it's old. But it did sell for my full asking price, and I'm very happy to save another beautiful vintage book from the trash. So in total, I sold 33 items in a week, which I think is pretty awesome, and I hope you guys are also having really great sales in your business, and I will see you guys hopefully in a couple days for another video. Until then, bye! Bye!